Thank you for joining into another episode of It's Only a Matter of Time. We actually set up a little bit differently.
Yes.
I know normally we do it in my gazebo. We want to do it out in the open. It's a little vibe here. It is a vibe. So today, this week's episode, we wanted to talk about being single.
Yes.
We've been wanting to do this episode for a while now.
Yes.
Just because I feel like we are like in the same space at this point in regards to being single, and we both connected with this topic, very well. And so this is the topic we're going to be discussing in this video. And
so I think because people out there would relate.
Exactly.
Everyone's been single or are single at this time, or been. So I'm sure that people out there could benefit from just our insight of our journey being single and stuff like that. So I'm sure people could relate to it.
And what we wanted to specifically for this video, we wanted to discuss our struggles with being single, how we're able to navigate, and just being comfortable with being single. And you don't have, you can be happy and single. There's happiness in being single,
right?
And I've come to reach that point in my, in being single at this point in my life where. You want to add on to that? Yeah,
because I think what everyone likes to tie in when people hear single, they like to think like you're alone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, which also I think people in general also view being alone as a bad thing.
Yeah.
So it's like a domino effect of approaching it that way.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. Like, oh, I'm single. Oh, that means I'm alone. Oh, being alone is bad. So it's like So I think what we want to do is actually shed some light on showing you that doesn't really mean that's what does it mean, right? It doesn't mean that you're alone, and it's not a bad thing. So.
It isn't, and I kind of want to add on to that, and it's just changing your perspective.
Yes.
And I feel like, it took me some time to change my perspective.
Right.
And how I viewed being single.
Yes.
And the first thing I want to talk about is what made me question. I asked myself making this video is what made me want to be single.
Right.
And after I stopped, broke up with the previous person I was talking to, the long-term one that I had, is I went on this journey of self-discovery, and I went on this journey of just improving and becoming the man, and not just the man but the person that I wanted to be.
Yourself.
Here on forth.
Right.
And when I started going on this journey, I was still dating at that point, and I felt like I was still filling that void.
Yeah.
By dating. By dating and feeling that I needed someone.
That part.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you bring that up, yeah.
And then once I started delving more into it, I started seeing a pattern.
Yes.
I noticed that, and I was like, what is triggering that pattern? I was like, you know what? I need to be alone.
Yeah.
And I want to discuss how I got there. But before I do, I just wanted to say, like, every relationship I've ever had up to this point, I rushed into.
Right. I can agree.
Yeah, I rushed into. Like, I never took my time getting to really know that person.
Right.
And really figuring out if we had the same values, had the same beliefs, and we can build something together. Mm-hmm. Something that was built on with people. I think nowadays why I think dating is so hard is because we want to rush into it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It feels good, and then so it's like it feels good right now, so let's get into it, right?
Yeah.
Because even for me, like the ones that were long, I've been in a few like monogamous relationships that's been, I want to say, like 5+ years. Those ones also started really fast as well. So it's like it's interesting to step back and think like. To think that, oh my goodness, like even the long ones that I considered that were pretty lengthy relationships started off that way.
Yeah.
And obviously we're not together no more.
Yeah.
But So it's always good to reflect on that, because I was just asked that this past my birthday this year by my other best friend. You know, like just I already knew the answer before she even asked it, but I don't think I've ever like said it to anybody out loud that all the ones I was married prior to, and that relationship also was fast. It was happening really, really fast. So, you know, that for one, you have to come to terms with that, and at least you have to accept that that's what it is, right? Because I don't think a lot of people want to admit that they're going really fast, even when they're in it, right? Like when people are like, "You guys are going a little fast." No, you know what I'm saying? Like
exactly,
the connection's there. You know, you try to justify it, right? And so, you know, just keep that in mind. I mean, not to say that I know I've also met people in relationships or even marriages that it happened fast, but they're like, it works. So I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody, and like
especially if you're starting to see a pattern.
If you think about it, like how many, like what are the chances of that happening? It's like very slim. Like I've heard very few people where that happens.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like for me, I started noticing a pattern. Like, and I noticed, and once I started doing self-reflection, and I just want to add this. I'm going off a little tangent, but it ties into what we're saying is like you need self-reflection.
Yes.
You need time to reflect. If you want to grow, self-reflection is crucial, and like that's why I journal, because it gives me time, like when I'm having an issue, to dissect that issue and then really pinpoint like what's going on, what's at the root cause of it. And I was able to come to this conclusion that right now, like I needed to be single because I was rushing into things and take my time.
When was your first, when you started dating? How old were you? And then how old were you when you first had like an actual
girlfriend?
Legit, like this is where
It was 17. I was 17.
Okay.
I was a late bloomer. Just because I'll tell you. I grew up in the church for a long time, so I didn't, you know.
Yeah, I think that's good to know.
Yeah.
Because for you at 17, me, I would jump off was like 14. So it's like, so to see like, it doesn't really matter. I don't think it even matters when you start, because like again, like when you start dating, but it's just always good to, I wanted to know, like, because the mindset at that age, right?
The thing is, it was short. It was like only a week. I was in high school. It was like a week and then we broke up.
That's cute.
Yeah, it was like a week and then we broke up. But like my first real long-term relationship was, I met her. It was through my brother. We met. It was at a Christmas party. And like I'm telling you, we rushed into it.
Okay.
Like it was 2 months, and I don't think and I know this doesn't sound bad. Like don't judge me, but this does not sound bad.
You have to remember, how old were you then?
Yeah, I was 21.
Okay.
So
yes.
I don't think I don't think I ever formally asked her to be my girlfriend.
Okay, it was just
that energy.
Yeah. Okay.
And she held resentment, she held resentment because I never like formally asked her, you know, be my girlfriend and stuff like that. But like I need to give you like the backstory to it. So like we knew each other for 2 months, and after the 2 months, she got pregnant. So I'm telling you, this is what I mean. Like this is what I mean. Like why I rushed into things, and started with that. She got pregnant, but she ended up. She had a miscarriage, but we still stayed together because we ended up, we loved each other, so we're like, let's keep this going.
Intense to go through,
It is intense, but that's what I'm saying is like you got to take your time, in doing things and like really getting to know the person. I'm not with her right now. Like we ended that a long time ago. But it's like she had a lot of issues that she didn't resolve, and then me, I was in a place. I was still trying to figure things out at that point too.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean is like we rushed into things, and then we ended up breaking up. Like we should have probably cut the cord before that. But it's so hard to do, and especially because at that point, I was so young.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like I don't know if I know the only examples that I've had were obviously like my parents or like my family. Yeah. But like I don't recall anyone sitting down like a mentor or anyone mentoring. I don't know if even for you, like because we had to figure that out ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't, like we're just now seeing that it's right.
Yeah.
It was fast, but in that moment, like I don't know if anyone sat you guys down and was like, hey, like maybe you guys, this is what you have to do, take it slow, blah blah blah. Has anyone like done that? Like
no,
that's what I'm saying.
No one's
like,
ever done that to
okay.
me. And now that you bring that up, and you know what, and now like just thinking about it, and like in retrospect,
yeah,
my mentality then is completely like the way way I see relationships and the way I view love is completely different now.
Yeah.
Like back then, I used to. I was very naive,
yeah,
and I believed that love was enough.
Right.
Like just as long as you love the person, no matter what, you can come out the other side.
Yes, yeah.
But there's so much that goes into a relationship. Like for me now, I was like, man, that was very naive for me to think that like love. That's all you need is just love.
Right.
You know.
But I don't think you should. I don't think you should beat yourself up too much.
Yeah.
Like I think anybody, like because you at the same time, like you didn't have anyone to mentor you, but you're figuring this out yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like that way of thinking is so childlike.
It is,
but it's so pure though.
Pure.
Childlike, not as in a bad way. I'm talking about like, oh, that's so pure, like to think that way.
Yeah.
Because it's so nice, it's refreshing, but.
Yes, exactly.
It's not
there's,
right.
There's a
it's
but.
More, yeah.
Because at that point I was like a hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
That's what I was, you know, because I was like, a poet, and I consider myself a poet, and I saw love through that lens, that hopeless romantic. Like now I'm. If I fall, like I'm saying, if I'm in a relationship, I'm still romantic.
Yeah, you have a good balance.
But I'm not.
You're like a realist.
I dropped that hopeless part. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not hopeless no more. I dropped that hopeless part, and I'm just romantic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
most definitely, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like it took me some time to switch that perspective and realize, like, it's not just about chemistry.
No,
it isn't. It's like, you know what I'm saying, and I feel like that's
what cooks us. But I think that's what makes us go fast.
Yeah, because like I know, like when I like my criteria, because I feel like we all have criteria for like what we date and stuff like that. Back then was like, she has to listen to certain type of music,
because you want to like have something in common, like
have something in common. And me nowadays is like, to be honest, I really don't care what kind of music you listen
because
to.
you can learn from off each other. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like I prefer that you listen to something else
and then bring it
to the table, just so we can share something, a part of us that you hold dear to you, and then you know what I'm saying, and just show interest.
Yes.
And I feel like that's like a huge thing is even though you may not like it, just show interest. Just like ask questions.
Right. Like,
don't tell them, I don't fucking like this shit. Like you don't want to say that. Just keep that to yourself. And if they ask you, then obviously you want to honestly say, hey, this is not really. And I feel like it's all about your approach.
Yes.
Like don't like straight up say, I fucking.
You want to ask them, well, how'd you get into it?
Exactly.
What is it about that intrigued you? Because then that will make you want to be like, oh, okay, I see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to shove it down anyone's throat or like say you need to like it too, but the fact that showing interest in learning, knowing what they like, goes a long way because you like that too.
Exactly.
Like if they may not be down for it, but I'd love for them to ask me like, well, how'd you get into it, or what is it about this song that you like, or what this artist, and like that opens up conversation because then that just next you find yourself having 5-hour conversations about deep stuff. About stuff that you may like, that you like, and stuff that they like. So
yeah,
I totally agree. Like I like that stuff because you just you learn from each other.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a key thing that conversations now, our communications is lacking is questions.
Yes.
Like we don't want to ask questions. Like that's how you gain insight.
Insight, yes.
It's if you ask compelling questions, and not even just questions,
Right.
Like for example, just like you said, like what made you listen to that artist, whatever.
Yeah, sometimes my mind obviously goes through. I'm very observant, and I'm very analytical, but analytical as in like I like to analyze things maybe too much.
Yeah.
But when I meet new people, or if I ask questions, and or I kind of like, oh, okay, and I love doing that stuff because then it just opens up conversations because I'm genuinely intrigued. Like I don't know anything about that. I like to know whatever, and I mean, that's even our friendships are like that. You know, not just in that kind of relationship, but friendships as well. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we do that all the time. Like we're like, hey, did you hear this, or did you read this, or you know, say, hey, check this out. You know, and I generally love that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
I know when I call you, it's not gonna be like a 5-minute conversation.
Oh yeah, no.
I know if I call you, I know I prepare myself because I know we're gonna be on the phone for like 30 minutes to an hour. We're gonna be on a long time because it's like we delve into so much. Like we don't just like ask like how our day was, but we go deeper.
Yeah,
we start talking about like our feelings and stuff.
We
like,
start snowballing.
Exactly, we start snowballing into like we realize like, dang, this conversation went a whole different route than I expect. I didn't expect this because we're open. Like we come in with that mentality. But yeah. So like I said, like that, and that's like once I noticed that pattern that I never really took the time to know the person I was dating.
Right.
I was like, you know what? I need to take a step back.
Yeah.
And I feel like the last person that I was dating is we reconnected. So it's I've known this person for quite some time. I've known her for a while now. And so when we reconnected, it's just like sparks were flying. You know what I'm saying? Like we had like chemistry. It took me to a time when we you know we were cool, and then basically after that it's just we took the ball and started running with it. And then like I got to a point, like I think we got to a point where we realized like we needed to take a step back. And we needed to, like, she had some things that she needed to resolve, and then I had things that I needed to figure out on my own.
Yes. Like you were just beginning. You were getting grounded as far as like working on yourself. Yeah.
Because like I noticed like there was a pattern, like right when I was on the cusp of like figuring out who I was, figuring out my interests, I would get into a relationship or do something that would distract me from what I really wanted to do, like my mission in life. And then that took a backseat, and that basically backtracked. And
I think, saying that, I think that's a lot of people, even myself, that do that when we get in relationships, because there's always, I'm very catering. I'm very, I always like to make sure, they're taken care of, or I'm there very, And so, but then there's a double-edged sword about that, right? What happens is we forget, we put what we need to be doing aside, and then we put it into, trying to, and we think, which is not a bad thing, but there has to be a balance. And I think that's, I feel like in our past relationships, we've always been that person, and we need to take a couple seats back and like work on that and try to find a balance where we could have our own thing, and personal time with the person, our time, and then also come together. There has to be some kind of balance, So, and like, when we were talking and when we made that decision, it was amicable. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like that's how I know like I reached growth. Is like I didn't.
It's always for me. And I'm sure for you, it's all the ladies and guys out there that are single and they are family oriented. Like observe that. If whoever you are gonna end up dating with and stuff like that, like observe that, because it's almost gonna foreshadow like what's gonna happen if they are for you or not, right? It's because even when you do bring them around your family, like pay attention to your family. Because they're seeing it from outside in. Now, do you take everything in like what they say? No, you just kind of take it in and you just say, okay, at least because they could be wrong too, because they could be coming from a place where they're just like they don't want you to be with anybody. So pay attention to that. If you are family oriented and you're single and you're looking into that, look into that. Whoever you're going.
And I completely agree, because you could be seeing it biased. You could be seeing that person biasly because you're enamored with them. Yeah. You got the love goggles on, so
so you're not even
especially when you're first dating, you're like, oh, whatever. Like he like that person fucking shits. Fucking roses for you at that point. At that point, because like you're so you're so raptured in that.
And plus, you know, and then you also see if they're like generally, because some people, of course, they want to look good in front of your family. So, you know, you have to give it some time, because like pay attention to that, because I for myself, what I've experienced is exactly that. It was like, oh yeah, showing face for family, and then eventually when we got serious, and you know, I guess I'm really technically talking about my marriage, and then like obviously like towards the middle and towards the end, like he didn't show up for any. You know, I had to have an excuse why he wasn't at any of our family functions, right? So, but in the beginning, it was like, oh yeah, showing, and then it was like little things where, you know, he was just like, he was uncomfortable around our family, but like not uncomfortable like a legit reason, just like, but then I had to see his family, and I understand why he seen our family that way, because his family is obviously functioning totally different than we are. You know, and so it just was like, oh, it clicked to me, you know. So I was like, you know, lesson learned.
And another thing too that I like to mention is how they treat how they treat their families is a reflection of how most likely they'll probably treat you. Yeah. Because if you think about it, like
exactly,
you have to pay attention to how they navigate their relationships with their family. Because I'm telling you,
if it's about them all the time, or they're starting fights, or
that's what I'm saying. Because they're
the toxic one.
That's what I'm saying, exactly. Because I'm telling you, like there's no one like family. Your family, like your brothers and sisters, they're gonna be the ones that trigger you the most, because they know you very well.
Yes.
And if you wanna see that person mad or in a tough situation, how they deal with it, just look at just look at them when they're with their family.
Because later on, eventually it'll be you.
Exactly, it's gonna be you.
Which happened to me. Yeah, exactly. It's like, first of all, what you're not gonna do? No, I'm just kidding.
And the next thing I wanted to talk about why I chose to be single was I didn't want to jump into a relationship out of fear. Yeah. And then what I mean by that is we often fear that we're gonna be alone. We're not, especially if your plan is to get married and have kids and stuff like that, and you're at a point like I know, for example, for me, I'm 27. That thought popped into my head, like, damn, I'm getting older. I'm not married yet. I don't own a house. All these things started surfacing. These things were kind of like, making me feel like I wasn't
like you're not doing anything.
I'm not doing anything. I wasn't where I wanted to be.
Like what everyone else is expecting, or
exactly. Other people's expectations, society's expectations of you.
Where we need to be at this age.
At this age. Right. But I'm telling you, 30s is a new 20s.
Dude, yeah.
It's a new 20s. It's like I'm telling you. How do you expect like a 21-year-old straight out of college to have it, have an idea of what they want to do? Is like, to me, that's ridiculous.
Exactly. Just like I'm gonna bring up Sammy, like even school.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I went back to school now, I would be like fucking best at. I'll probably annoy all the new kids, all the students, because I'm gonna be that student because I've already gone through life. And and I already have an idea of who I am. I mean, the reason why I'm taking this class is because I know, like I'm doing this because I know this is what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus, if I had just came out right out of high school, and I had opportunities to go straight to college, and I knew at that time that I was like, I'm not gonna go to fucking school. I had an opportunity to go to Hawaii for school.
Yeah.
I was in party mode, dude.
Yeah.
Am I gonna really sit there and you put me on a fucking island? And you know what I'm saying? I didn't know myself. Yes, I knew myself, but I knew myself to the point. I knew that. Oh no, I'm not even.
I knew I wanted to party. Dog.
I'm not gonna sit there in class, and then let alone I'm not gonna sit there and retrieve everything. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know what I was gonna take. So, I feel like how can you expect anyone to come right out of college or to know? Because, which is why I feel like, if you're out there, you're single and you're like out of college or in college or you're trying to figure out, like, it's okay.
Yeah,
like
it is.
Dude, like relax, like sit back and like ground yourself first, right? And then figure that out, because then you don't want. I have friends that are out there that are like literally professional college students.
Yeah.
They're like my age and they have like maybe freaking 3 degrees, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 degrees, and they're just like, and they're like chilling, like, I don't know what to do. Like, what you spent all these years in school. What do you mean? Like, that pisses me off. But then that's the perfect example of they just were doing it because that's what they were told to do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you have all these degrees, you have your masters and this reason, and I'm like, but you're chilling on shit, you know, because you're not doing what you were going to school for.
And I feel like I made that decision based on that was asked, like going to school, because that was that was what was expected of me. Go to college, get your degree, and then now like I was thinking about going back to get my master's, but then I was like, no. I was like, I'm a huge believer now in self-education.
Self-education.
You can educate yourself.
Right.
Pick up a fucking book.
Yeah.
That's easy as that. You got YouTube now. You can educate yourself through there.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of courses online that you can get for free, and you can educate yourself in whatever field that it is that you want to pursue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, school isn't the only avenue that you got to take.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To get where you want to be in life.
Yeah. Sorry, we went on a little tangent, but back to the fear. Yeah.
Back to the fear. And that fear of being alone, that was, I know that sometimes surfaces. Like, don't get in a relationship because you don't want to be alone. That's like one of the That's one you don't want to do that.
That's for all those people out there that, because I know a few people, family, friends, acquaintances, that this is for those people that you have to step back and you see either you or other people that you see that they're constantly in a relationship. Like they end one and they're literally in another one already, or they end one, they're literally in another one. Like, where was the time did you grow and stop and reflect in between? It's because a lot of those people fear to be alone, so they're like, that's why they hop into one right away.
Yeah,
it's that fear. And like, I want to ask, like, again, like, I mean, I kind of know where we get, like, where did we get the idea that being alone is bad? Like, like fearing to be alone. So it's like, it could be different for everybody.
Exactly.
It could be something learned. It could be something, well, it is something learned.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, and then, or like trauma.
Yeah.
Something that wasn't even like maybe a relationship. It was something growing up.
Yeah.
Something, something you probably got from your parents. Because it's all, I mean, like, hey, parents are not perfect. They're still human too.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, a lot of parents in past generation and not in generation before us are pretty fucked us up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that fear, like, I know you want to say too, it's like, it's not bad.
It isn't.
Dude, like, it's okay. Like, because what you're doing is you hop in another, you're just adding more piles of shit. So then once you finally once you finally figure it out, like, oh, I need to fix it, now you have like 10 piles of shit that you need to like sort through, and like, which is good that you're now doing it, but rather than doing it after 10 pounds of shit, at least, you're like maybe 2 or 3. You're like, okay, this is manageable. Like, I don't have to like go work through fucking 10 pounds of shit.
I like how you use that analogy. Like, of all analogies. Because,
no, it is, like, you have to see, like, because you're literally adding on more. Like, if you don't stop and reflect. In between relationships, because you fear of being alone, you're not really fixing. Fixing or even working on what happened to the previous one. So what happens is you pick that up and you throw it into your next relationship, and then you pick up some more. You may lose here and 3, and then next you leave that one. Now you have 2 under your belt, and now you have 3 or 4, and then eventually, finally, when you were like, oh shit, like you have an epiphany to realize, oh, I think I'm the toxic fucking person in the relationship.
Your ass is back up.
You're fucking constipated. Fucking,
bullshit.
So, a whole bunch of bullshit that you put yourself into. And so, and because it all stemmed from fearing for being alone. So whatever that may be to trigger you to do that, if it's something in your family life that got you into that habit or thinking that way, or if you just have like what you call it, separation anxiety, like get help
like
on
abandonment
that.
issues,
abandonment issues, which is very like that's something.
It's very common.
It's very common. It's very common. So it's like, get help. because then you're gonna save yourself from a whole bunch of bullshit. You know.
Exactly.
You know. So like, change that perspective on being alone, because it's really gonna help you.
And another thing too that helped me a lot is not letting other people's judgments on other people, how they think that you should live your life, dictate
Facts.
how you're living your life at this current moment.
Yeah.
And then once I realized that, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna live my life the way I want to. Like, if I want to be single when I'm 30, like, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I choose to live it.
Even if they are giving you the right advice, take it, but still live. Because it's same. Like, my mindset is like that's how it's been. It's like, oh, okay, like because I hear it, but I'm not ready to receive. I'm not ready to process that. But I know that, okay, that could be good for me, or I didn't know, and then later on I find out, oh shit, they were talking to but that's okay though. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay to go back and be like, okay, I was wrong at that time. But take, people are gonna say it, but still do what you feel, even if it's bad. Like, if it's bad, as long as you realize that it's bad, like, I'll say, okay, I fucked up. I'm gonna be better now. Because I know better, right?
Do what you feel is true to you.
Yeah.
And make that decision based if it's gonna be made with love.
Yes. But to this day, I still have aunts and uncles that are asking me, like, that will ask me. First of all, I'm gay. And I've been gay since I was like freaking 14. But I still have those aunts and uncles that they're like, you married yet? And then first of all, I was like, I was married. And they're like, no, who's your wife? And like, no wife, or and they're like, and then they're like, oh, and then they're trying to hook you up with whoever, somebody maybe who happened to be my cousin, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, you're gonna have people like that. That come and be like, and it's the older people, so you're just kind of like, okay, you just smile off, like,
and it's
right.
Like I had people tell me, like, there comes to a certain point. I had family members tell me, the older you get, the harder it is to find someone.
And like,
you hear a bunch of different things.
Yeah,
you hear a bunch of different things out there, man.
And they put that in your head because they're telling you stuff that they hear, and I was like, you don't know that. Like,
it's like, if they're married, it's like they don't know, because they don't know what it is, how it is.
You don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Talk to me about marriage stuff.
Yeah,
that's fine. But don't tell me like it's gonna be harder for me getting older. Like, why? Does that happen to you? Like, where did you get that from?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your perception. That's your fear. Is that's, and then at the same time you have to review when people give you advice. And this is one thing that I've learned even during my marriage. When people are giving you advice, family, friends, or whatever, you have to look at their relationships.
Exactly, yeah.
You kind of have to step back and you kind of take it, same thing, take it for a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And you receive it, and then you just throw away whatever. It's like, okay, that's bullshit, because first of all, let's not talk about your relationship. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so you always have to be careful when you're single and you have people that are giving you advice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and then I feel like being single has allowed me to do the things that I love and just really focus on myself and shit. Like, just thinking about all, like, I'm willing to do things out of my comfort zone now.
Yeah.
I started with yoga. I started meditating again. I got into like this life coaching thing that I'm doing now, making these videos. I started riding again. We go hiking almost every weekend. You know what I'm saying? Just doing things that I've come to love and I enjoy. I even started getting into photography now too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I feel like, and then when you have that going on, and then when you eventually start, whenever that happens, where you decide to possibly date somebody, you have you lay that all out on the table, right? You lay it on the table, and so then rather than and then vice versa, they lay, oh, well, this is what I love to do, and you're just kind of like, okay, cool, like, you can still do that. I may want to come try that. Oh, okay, maybe I want to try this. So you're not taking, so nothing's getting taken away.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nothing's getting taken away from, like, you still could do all that stuff. Because they see, like, oh, that's really important to you. Maybe there's certain things that you were just doing it just for the fuck of it, and then that one you're like, okay, that one I could I don't care much about. But like if you have like a core group of things that you like to do, and they have a core group of things, some maybe the same, maybe one or two the same, and that's so cool. Rather than saying, okay, I can't do these no more. It's a more like I could still do that. They could come try it out, you know, sometime, and vice versa. You go try some of their stuff, and I think that's where like going into a relationship, your next relationship, vice versa, it's to have those conversations, because then that later it doesn't show up like you don't want them to feel like they're taking you away, or like, you know what I'm saying, like and vice versa also is like letting them know like I'm not getting like, this is my stuff, this makes me happy. Exactly. So then you let them know, it's communicating.
Exactly.
This makes me happy, and then what makes you happy? This makes you happy. Okay, I would never ask you to not do that no more, or take you away from that, and I respect that same thing. And I feel like that's like, you know, that to me that's the ideal situation in when I go in my next relationship. Yeah. So it's because yes, you have all these new single, you get to find your new self, right?
Exactly.
And your new stuff that you like, that benefits you, and it's making you a better person. And so then when you do decide, I feel like laying that out, that's what you bring to the table, and vice versa. And I feel like you know, hopefully freaking there's a marriage after that. But but I feel like that's, but not, I see what I know now, or what I see now in relationships, like they don't do that.
They don't,
because then because you start seeing or hearing their friends or their family like, oh, they don't do that no more because they started dating so and so. Yeah. And, you know, and it's like, it's one thing if it's something that was like whatever, it's just BS. But if it's like something that it's who they were known to do, what they're known to do, what they always did, and then they just kind of like stepped away from it, because I don't like that. Yeah. Like, but that's what I see in a lot of relationships now, and I think people jumping in because they want to again cater to, you know, and then they just disappear.
You lose yourself in the relationship.
Completely lose yourself, and that's what I think is common. You know,
it is very
and
common.
So that's why I feel like, you know, bringing that up, like, you know, I found new stuff. It's like when you do, you know, go into that, make sure you guys talk about that. Fucking communicate, dude. Yeah. Fucking communicate. One thing that I learned being single and in a whole bunch of relationships is fucking communicate.
Yeah, very true.
You know,
yeah.
Even if it's in the beginning, like, yes, this is what I like to do, and I'm not budging on this.
Yeah.
This, and this. Okay, cool. You know, and then if right then and there, you know, possibly it may work out. If they're like that, you know, then you're like, well, then fuck you do. Yeah. So there you go. Like, and then it's like, you didn't put any time in it. It's like right there, right in the beginning, and no one's wasting time. At least it was all laid out on the table.
Exactly.
You know, so.
Agree. And like for me too, like right now, like I'm taking this time to, you know, be healthy. Like right now, like one of the things I've been doing is I've been trying to eat healthier. Yeah. So I'm doing this thing now where I'm eating plant-based. Yes. 4 days out of the week. And animal protein. Yeah. 3 days a week. I'll eventually want to get down to
what?
To 1 day animal. To only one. There's only 1 day of the week where I'm eating animal protein. The rest I'm just like plant-based.
Because then eventually you get to the point where you just eat. On, like, for me, it's only on special occasions. Like, it has to be worth eating meat. Like in and out last week. Yeah, like yesterday. Yeah, like I was like yesterday. I was like, and I was like, okay, cool. Then I'll be that my eating meat. But like it will eventually get there. But you know, that's something else. But yeah, that's helping you.
And then working out. I'm still working out during the quarantine. So yeah, like I'm to be honest, this is probably like the happiest I've been. You know, there's been challenges up in the road. You know. Mental health, like my mental health right now, like I've had challenges along the road, but it's like, who doesn't? Like this just comes with life. But overall, like,
but you deal with it.
I deal with it, and I know how to navigate it.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And I'm telling you, like, this is like the happiest I've been, and I'm single. Yeah. So like, I just want you guys to know that if you're single and you're not happy right now, you gotta ask yourself why you're not happy. Right.
It's not because you're single.
It's not because you're single. It may be because certain beliefs that you have, that you tied to being single, that maybe you need to reevaluate, and you need to look at being single in a different perspective.
Also, I wanted to reiterate too, like earlier when you said about energy, like like the energy, like I know we had a conversation the other day about like what, like for me, like especially whatever's going on personally in in your life, and me, like I have a lot of personal stuff going on with my family, and so all my energy and my love and my comfort, all that, it's going not only coming to myself, but it has to go there.
Yeah.
So trying to bring someone else into that whole equation, that I'm stretching myself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So to sit there and actually come to that conclusion and to know like, oh, I don't have the energy for anybody else right now, it's like so empowering. To say because I think I had told you, like I said it to someone in a conversation, and it felt good, and actually said it to someone that was interested in me, and then I actually sit here and say, look, cool, but I may have possibly have energy to be friends, to become, to befriend each other, but to sit here and say, like, to start dating, to have put that energy into dating, I don't have that energy. And for me to say that, it was so like, fuck yeah, like, I mean, like, it felt good because I acknowledged that, but also like, and they may appreciate that too, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But then, I say that for whoever is out there as well, is if they're sitting there not happy or they're like trying to figure that out, take an assessment of your energy.
Yeah.
Like, where is your energy going? Where does your energy need to be at?
Exactly. Yes.
Where does and I'm all like, and so when you stop and think, because then that takes you out of the mindset of just thinking about yourself, So as far as like, if you have something else going on, think of yourself as far as bettering yourself.
Exactly.
But then if you're thinking about yourself because you want to be with somebody, that's being selfish.
Exactly.
That's being selfish for yourself, and also selfish for whoever you're gonna pull into this whole web of bullshit, right? So like, think about that, and so take an assessment of your energy and where it needs to be, and then I promise you, like, you probably feel like, okay, being single isn't, because I don't have the fucking energy to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, and like, I'm glad that you mentioned that it's focused on becoming a better person, the person you want to be.
Yeah.
Because I feel like oftentimes we focus on attracting the person that we want.
Yes.
And then we gotta kind of shift that focus.
Yes.
And once we focus on bettering ourselves, you attract the person that is meant to be and who's on that vibration. Because if you think about it, if I'm right now, I'm not in a good place in my life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna attract someone that's on that same level.
Right.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
It's like, I wanna go
elevate.
up. I want to elevate. I want someone that's going to elevate me,
right.
and I'm going to elevate them.
Exactly.
But in order for me to do that, I need to be on that level.
You need to be on that level, exactly. And then, because then the same thing about having the halves. Like, when two halves come together, no. Excuse me, it's not Corona. But, I'm going to edit that out. I'm just coughing. I'm just talking so fast.
Yeah.
But, it's like, so you're elevated and they're elevated as well, and then you guys come together, and the whole key is to elevate each other.
Exactly.
And so like, you both are up here because that's where you like, I'm here, and then when you guys come together, it's like, fucking, you guys are just unstoppable. Right?
Exactly.
And you guys are just kind of like, not only it's like you guys are loving each other, it's like you guys are also bettering each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Encouraging each other, and challenging each other.
Exactly.
And so. Anyway.
I'm glad that you mentioned challenging each other. It's hard to find. It's hard to find someone that's going to challenge you.
And then that can have an actual adult, like, could disagree, and it's not an argument where it's like very immature. It's an actual discussion. It's a disagreement, and it's a disagreement that you both could actually learn from. And walk away from it and be like, okay, like, I'm still feel this way about it, but I see your point.
And it's not. And I feel like what's more attractive when they're not only talking out of their ass, but like they're educated,
right,
in like a very compelling, like, objection to what you're saying, and like a different perspective, point of view, where it makes you like take a step back and like, dang, I never thought about that. Like, maybe I didn't reevaluate how I saw it.
Exactly.
And like, that's what you need. Like,
that's what you need.
Those kinds of conversations.
Because like, going back, there's so many, me knowing what I know now about just even having conversations and the arguments that I've had in past relationships, like, it didn't have to go that way. But obviously, I wasn't where, like, I am, and the person I was with, obviously. And so I feel like when they have disagreements, like, it's automatically wanting it to be right.
Yeah, exactly.
And that should be something, that I, from reading and growing as well, like reading stuff and like watching stuff and watching other people, and even my parents, or even watching like how they disagree now. Like how they used to disagree back in the day is not how they disagree now. Yeah, like they pick their battles. You know what I'm saying? And so where they could still come together. They walk away and they're not pissed off at each other. Or they don't. One doesn't feel superior over the other one because they feel like I'm right or whatever. Yeah. Right. So
I like that you mentioned that, because when you're listening,
dude,
as you're listening not to be understood.
Yeah.
But you're listening to understand the other person.
Yes.
That's very key.
Is key. Is it easy to do? Fuck no.
Yeah, you're listening.
It's so fucking hard.
Like that's the point of listening.
Yeah.
You're not listening to fucking be understood. You're listening to understand the other person.
Right. And it's hard. It's really, really hard to do. But then the only way to get better at it is you guys practicing that. And then again, within arguments, there's certain things that you guys need to lay down. Once it starts getting name calling, that's when you need to step back. Once it starts getting, when it's the tone gets louder, that's maybe you guys should say time out.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? There's certain ways to practice that, we could talk about that in a whole other video.
Yeah, relationship.
How to have a disagreement. Because I feel like I'm so much better at disagreeing. Not just in relationships, but relationships in general with my family and friends and stuff like that. Like I've gotten, we all gotten so much better because we're actually listening to understand each other, and But then when there is a certain tone, or when someone's getting pissed or it's starting to get into our emotions, and then we know when to say, okay, tap out. We'll come back and have this conversation later. Yeah. And that's practicing having a disagreement, because then eventually the arguments are not going to be like fucking blown out, like tossing up tables. It's actually like, oh, okay, cool, and then you can hug it out, and be love you, all right, love you too, pass out. Yeah. So, I mean, that's for me like ideal too, like going into another relationship. But then just to challenging you, just in every way. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for that. We got to say for this video, man. I just wanted to let you guys know.
Yeah.
That I'm having a kick-ass time.
Yeah.
Badass time being single.
Yes.
And I hope everyone who's out there who is single, I'm
yes.
hoping you're doing the same. You're taking this time to know yourself and better yourself during this time, and preparing you if you are looking for someone or potential partner. Take this time to invest in yourself. This is the time to do that. I want to challenge you this week to do something out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
Do something out of your comfort zone. And I want to leave you with this thought and this quote that I actually read in this book I'm reading. It's called Inner Engineering.
I like that.
The quote is, the only way out is in.
Yeah.
That's it. Simple as that. The only way out is in. It's something, some food for thought for you guys to think about. And we really do appreciate, tuning in,